So, I would like to do today, I would like to discuss this work in here from a variety point of view, right? This is one of my favorite paintings. Well, difficult to see, right? It's one of, right? So many beautiful artwork, right? So this is Velasquez, right? And it's I discussed this in my third book, and I would like to go over it, analyzing it from a different point of view, right? So first, I would like to look at it. Let me see how I dealt with this right in the book, right? So we discuss a little bit what the content of the, what is the painting representing, what's happening here. Right? Then I get into the composition, see how this scene is arranged, right? The narrative of the scene. And then we get into the individual, the study in individual poses from a point of view of anatomy, right? Structural, the skeletal, the muscular, and the external form from front, back, right? And side or three-quarter side like this. So it's gonna take some time to do this, but I think we're not in a rush, we're not in a hurry, right? So let's start with this, the pose, right? What's happening here, right? What's happening in the painting, right? So what's happening here? At first, when I saw this painting, I thought that it looks very, very solemn pose, right? Apollo is getting into the forge of Vulcan, and originally I thought, looking at this, I thought, oh, okay, he's ordering Vulcan to make his famous shield, right? The shield of Apollo. But then turns out that it's much more mundane than that, right? It's Apollo going to see Vulcan, and I think this is Vulcan because Vulcan was known to be not very handsome, and also he had problem with a leg or something. He was kind of missing a leg, and he is telling him that his wife Venus is having an affair with Mars. So, and the way this is organized is quite masterful, because you see, he comes in here, right, with all the halo around, very solemn with this toga thing, and everybody stops. They say, oh my God, Apollo is here. And he's telling, look, your wife is having an affair with Mars. So everybody freezes. And especially, I love this guy here, which has that face of, oh man, that must be so hard for the boss, right? Because he's the boss, right? So he feels embarrassment. Everybody feels embarrassment, and look at the eyes of Vulcan. He said, what? What is that? I'm working here, and then, and she's having an affair with Mars. So it's very mundane, very Baroque, if you want, right? Not the Aulic or very serious composition that you will see maybe later on in 1800s, end of 1700 with the French painters, where the painting style in that period is neoclassical, and everything is very serious, arching back to the classics in a very serious way, let's say, right? Because the French, like the English, were appropriating the classical culture and using it as a vehicle to convey their own values. Those are the empire, the new empire, French and English, right? So, so let's look at the composition, right? Let's look at the composition, and it basically very cleverly designed, right? So you see Apollo is coming here, right? And he is both with the voice, right, and with the hand indication, the gesture, conveying the message. And you see how these the actors are oriented like a horseshoe. See that, like this, turning around like this, right? So basically, the message stays in the circle, right? So they kind of capture, like a baseball mitt, capture the message. And this message stays here in the circle here, so involve only these actors here. So, in a sense, this centrifugal direction of the message, or where it's contained, is create I kind of amplifies the power, right? Almost like you hear it over and over again, like in your head, like you had bad news, you hear it over and over again, right? But it also creates a sense of privacy, meaning this is just for us. You guys are stupid, and we don't. You're not supposed to listen to hear this, right? So it's very, very clever direction. And as I mentioned in the description of the composition here in the book, it makes me think about a composition of a painting by Caravaggio, where it's a conversion of St. Matthew, where Christ arrives inside the room, but Christ is on the opposite side. And the group of people mirrors what you see in the Caravaggio painting on the other side, like this, creating also a group of people along the table that are receiving the message from Christ, from the divinity. So it's very similarly arranged. Velázquez was in Rome around the period where Caravaggio was painting, and or probably saw the painting, and I'm thinking maybe he was somehow influenced by the power of that composition of Caravaggio. So now, after this, we're going to study maybe the figures a little bit stereometrically, like I did here. So I posted for you on Patreon the reproduction of this painting like this, which you can find also on Wikipedia for free, and it's a very high resolution and excellent production. You can print it out, but I posted it for you so you can use that. And here I had kind of fun blocking in the stereometric rendering of the figure. And it's just a good exercise to start with. If you want to do this, right, you can take a piece of just regular printing paper. Don't get the good photographic paper. Print it out on this paper, and then with chalk or white pencil, you can try to box in the figures to see the proportional relationship, but also study the pose a little bit more accurately. You see, now if you reduce this to this basic volume here, you can have a better understanding of the dynamism of the poses, the orientation of the poses, etc., etc. So now, what I would like to do, I would like to take one of these figures. Maybe we start with Vulcan, right? And then, in case of Vulcan, we only see the torso. So we're gonna draw the rib cage and the muscle over it, right? For today. Next week, we're gonna do maybe a back view of this figure, same thing, right? And then eventually three-quarter view. So probably this series will last, but it's good enough. Now what we do now, we're going to divide the rib cage, right, in first in planes here, and here planes, and also we're gonna block in the ribs, right? So this is now the take up the middle of this half rib cage, right? And you go down like this, right? And you go down like this, right? This is the side plane, this is the front plane, this is the side plane, right?